Gary Vaynerchuk is a serial entrepreneur, investor, and one of the most sought-after public speakers alive today, and a 4 times New York Times best-selling author. He went from being born in the Soviet Union, living in a studio apartment with 8 other family members, to building a net worth of $160 million. Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 for my top 10, top 10, 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Gary Vaynerchuk, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Have humility.
I've loved myself the whole time, thank God. Most don't. But I haven't allowed me to get high on my own supply. My humility is my great offset to my confidence. And I think that manifests. And I think one of the things you were saying, when you were saying it, I knew what you were saying, which is you have the luxury of seeing really behind the scenes, truly.
Yeah.
And I think what you know is, forget about like giving to a nonprofit. It's just the genuine kindness of replying to somebody's request or doing something for somebody with no ask, no expectation, and nobody knows. And you know this because you run in entrepreneurial circles like I do. And you know when you stumble on somebody who knows me as well, they're going to bring up something that I did that was nice and nobody knows about it. And that is only one thing. That is called humility.
Rule number 2, start with why.
My big thing is this. You can have anything you want, first of all, because who am I or who's anybody else? Do you, comma, just ask yourself why. Are you so insecure that you need the logo of the BMW or the table at a club? Or what do you need that for affirmation of others? Or do you actually enjoy the taste of alcohol, the speed of a car?
Rule number 3, make the change.
I forced somebody to leave the media team and now work in project management, a very junior employee. She's been with us for 18, 24 months. I, from the tippy top, all the way down to the London office on the micro media team, demanded, as a dictator, to move her from media to project management on 2 things. 1, she was not having a good relationship with her managers, and it was neither of their faults after I investigated personally. And 2, through the series of her communicating with me, I thought that she had tremendous organizational skills. And I saw her yesterday and she was so happy. I'm a CEO who happens to also have tens of millions of followers on social media, does public speaking, I'm here for things like this. I'm stretched incredibly thin, and yet I was able to execute against that. And this is not me saying it for everybody who's listening to think I'm good or whatever. It speaks to intent. Either, let me save everybody a lot of time on this incredible mission that this podcast is on. Either a company is about its people or a company is about money. Any company that is publicly traded or has a board that has control over the CEO, she or he has to pander to something outside of their employees. Independence, whether in the micro or at massive scale, at least gives you the chance to be employee-centric.
So how did you communicate that to her, and how did she receive it?
Well, it was in the conversations I was having to her about her not being happy, and then also double checking and hearing from her managers that maybe it's her fault, was data I was collecting. And then I came over to the top with HR and finance and just requested the move. So I didn't even communicate to her that I was doing the move. It just happened. When I saw her, I'm not sure she knows how much or how little I had to do with it. And I'm not really in the business of getting stars on my shirt, but I'm really happy about it. And whether it works out or not, I have no idea. But the moral of the story for everybody, one more time, especially if you're listening right now and you have the power. You know, something I said yesterday to the London office was everything at VaynerMedia is my fault. There's 1,000 things wrong right now. There's 8 to 80 people that are responsible for that, but at the end of the day, I hired and empowered those 8 to 80. If you are lucky enough to have control, and you're listening right now, and if you're listening to this, you care about the things that we care about, please look yourself in the mirror and realize you're the one that has the ability to make the change that you ideologically believe in.
Rule number 4, take responsibility.
I don't like college for the value prop for a big percentage of people. I think college works for, somebody left a comment yesterday on my Instagram that like, Gary Vee, you convinced me to stay in school. And I was pumped. And I was like, yes, this kid is hearing me. I'm not cheating on college, I'm cheerleading for self-awareness. There's no such thing as one thing works for everyone. And one of the scariest things in American society, one of the scariest things is parents putting pressure on kids to go to school to make the parent feel good and making the kid take on debt for that when the kid doesn't feel like they want to do that. And then they come out the other side and they literally spend the next 15 years trying to reconcile that debt. That's why you have a lot of unhappy people. And then what that means is then they go, yay, I'm gonna vote for the person that's gonna wipe out college debt, right? Because that's your short-term issue, just like other people vote to the Republican side on their short-term issue, which then leads to accountability issues, which leads into people like, Google needs to take care of me. This is how the machines are gonna win. You understand that, right? I don't want the machines to win. I want all of you to think every single thing is your fault without judging yourself into depression. Which, you know, everything's your fault, that's a great thing, means you're in control, let's go.
Also, if you want to have unstoppable confidence, self-love, and motivation, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
The reason people aren't patient is they value other people's opinions too much. I think everybody here, if I told them, everything is gonna be okay, you can have everything you want. Now, what are you gonna do with your day? I think a lot of people know. You don't just sit in your room hoping and then something lucky happens. Nobody just knocks on your house's door and says, congratulations, you've been awarded this. Luck comes from being in the right spot.
Rule number 5, stop beating yourself up.
I'm curious now, how do you find the balance between being a great husband, between being a great father, having great health, and building a great empire? And what do you feel like you could improve more in at this season of life?
You know, I think you know, back to extremism, right? Like the extreme, which I use, you know, all of it can be better and all of it is just great. I think, you know, here's a good place to go with this. Let's really bring value. So you can go back, you know, 4 years ago and listen to like how I think about extremism going hard and then vacationing hard, and it's all there. I think what this has evolved into is something a little bit deeper and more important that I hope really brings somebody value right now, which is stop beating yourself up and stop judging yourself. We all go through chapters, right? Like sometimes you're super in love with your partner and like that's all you can obsess about. You know, it feels like you've been through that chapter recently. Like, yes. Like other times you're, you know, super into your profession because you got a new initiative and you got to go, it's another baby. Sometimes it's an actual baby. And by the way, for some people, the first 2 years are actually super boring because the baby does nothing. And it's okay to not be like blown away and spending every second. On the flip side, if you just can't believe this little miracle and you need to like work out, like I think this comes down to judgment. Stop beating yourself up. There is not even a close framework for what's right. Everyone's balance is massively individual.
Rule number 6, have practical optimism.
This company is a complete and utter reflection of the way I was parented and the circumstances in which I was parented. 100%. I think that this company is optimistically practical. So, and that's uniquely what I can bring to the table in this company. So this company is extremely young and coastal, which means it's unbelievably socially liberal, which is incredible because I am as well, but that also leads to vulnerability. And so my practicality and immigrant upbringing and like merit-based infrastructure helps us a lot when the most senior leaders do things that are currently popular, but are unbelievably scary to me of what that could lead to a month later. I mean, Slack at VaynerMedia is like dark Reddit. Like, you know, like there's a lot of good, but there's plenty of dark. And like, that's just the nature of what happens, especially when what's happening outside the four walls of VaynerMedia is happening in our society, which is activating people in a completely different way than a decade ago, or 2 decades ago, or 2 decades from today. And so, yes, I feel like I'm very fortunate to be the human that I am during this time, because I think I have practical optimism.
Rule number 7, manage your energy.
I could be micromanaging in the philosophy, but you know, I think if you speak to anybody who's been a direct report of mine over the last decade, the biggest argument and issue they have is I'm not involved enough. I am in the bat phone business. What that means, since I'm using a Batman reference, and I'm not sure how big Batman is in Sweden, or now that we're going global on the podcast, I'm in the business of being in responding to. So I have no interest in micromanaging until there's an issue at hand. And so, yes, somebody could say that philosophically, but in actual practitionership or operational, the way this, you know, energy that I'm speaking about manifests in reality is you're only putting your finger in the hole that is biggest in your boat at that moment, which means there's a lot of boat left for those people to run.
Rule number 8, have no expectations.
I think also, do you go into the mindset of knowing like this could be 100 million or it could be 0 and you're okay if it's 0, or do you still?
I go into everything thinking it's going to be 0.
Really?
Yeah. It really makes it, why do you think, notice, doesn't that make sense? Now all of a sudden, I go in with no hope.
No expectation.
No expectation. I don't do it for my kicks and the giggles. I think it's going to work.
Yeah.
If I'm running it, it's going to work because that's what I'm good at. But almost everything I don't run. I don't run Pure Wow 137. Harwood does. I don't run Vayner Sports. AJ does. I don't run Vayner Speakers. Zach Nadler does. I'm impacting the living shit out of those businesses.
You're influencing them, yeah.
Oh, in a real way.
Yeah.
But you know, push comes to shove, I don't make those decisions, and so, and I support my partners in crime, and so that's kind of how it is.
Rule number 9, treat your health well.
Health keeps me up at night. The health and well-being of the 12 people that I'm closest related to or love the most as a friend scares the f out of me. Like, way more than it scares most people. I think about it all the time because I don't care about the work enough. Like, it's what my passion is, but like if a core 12 person in my life is terminally ill or passes away, it will shut me down. So that keeps me up. Professionally, I'm not kept up. I'm capable, I'm talented. Business is tricky because we don't treat business the way we treat music artists and athletes, but I think it's much more similar to that than it is other things. So like once you know you're a good athlete, like you may not win every game, but like LeBron's not confused that he's bad. You know, he doesn't think like tomorrow he's not gonna be able to play. He may not win every game, and I genuinely feel like I'm that. Like, I'm not gonna miraculously tomorrow not be what I've been for the last 38 years of my life, which is a disproportionately successful business human, right? So I'm good.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is be willing to be misunderstood.
When you're innovating, you're gonna be misunderstood. Like when we decided 3.5 years ago to film everything, I knew that wasn't gonna be so easy to navigate life. I mean, at least this setting is somewhat normal. How about in your normal day-to-day when you're just going to a normal meeting and you're being filmed? Like, people are gonna cast judgment, and I don't want to come across that way. It's just that the value of content at scale is the cost of entry for success, in my opinion, of this next decade. And yeah, that's why we do it.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video, and what are you going to do to take action on it this week. When you write down what day, what time, and what place you're going to take action on something, you have a 91% chance of following through versus just 35% if you got motivated but never wrote down a plan. And when you share your plan and have public accountability, it raises your chances of following through even higher. So that's what I want to do today for you guys. You watch this video. What was your single biggest takeaway, and what is your plan to take action on it this week? Let me know. Put it down in the comments below.
I'm in the business of providing value for the people that work for me, so I don't have a preference of how they want to use it, even if it's just a check-in to, you know, I had one recently with an employee that's been with us for 7 years and she's been crushing it, and we hadn't talked in maybe 2.5 years, and I think she just needed to feel for 5 minutes that I did have my hands in everything, AKA, I don't have my hands in anything, but I'm aware of quite a bit, if not most things. And her hearing that, where I could speak to detail on things that she started talking about, gave her confidence that she still works for an organization that has a CEO that has care and intent and isn't living in an ivory tower and isn't naked with no clothes. And that is my agenda at all times. Evan, thank you so much for having a couple seconds and being able to tell the Believe Nation a little bit about Empathy Wines. It means a lot to me that you would take this valuable real estate and time on your channel to give me some love. It means a lot. It's just good karma points, and so you're awesome. Thank you. Believe Nation, if you're into wine at all, go to empathywines.com. My whole career's work was poured into producing a wine that rivaled $40 to $60 wine for 20 bucks a bottle. I'm just super excited about this subscription-based wine business. You can order 3, 6, or 12 bottles in subscription form, rosé, white, red. If you search on Instagram or Twitter, you will be blown away. People are literally like, I don't even like Gary Vee, but the wine's good. Super proud of the effort. Thanks, Evan, for the time. Wishing you guys all happy and healthy.
If you want to change your life for free in 30 days, check the link below me. And if you want 10 more awesome rules from Gary Vee, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.